Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. For a number of years now, we've been following the ongoing debacle at the NRA, National Rifle Association. Several years ago, I called for Wayne LaPierre to step down. He hasn't. He won't, of course. There's so much here, it's hard to even get a handle on it. It's such a cluster. It's unbelievable what's going on. Tens of millions of dollars being used for legal defense of Wayne. Possibly hundreds, not possibly, almost certainly hundreds of millions of dollars have been squandered on private expenses by Wayne and his wife and others, private jets, yachts, trips, luxury suits. It goes on and on. It is, every time you think you've figured out the extent of it, you pull back a curtain and find there's more back there. It's just a mess. And of course, the question is, why hasn't the board done something about it? Why hasn't the board of directors thrown him out? There are 76 members on the board. That's one problem. That needs to be down to about 10 or 12. Joining me right now is a fellow who's trying to work on all of this. Frank Tait is running for the NRA Board of Directors right now. Frank, welcome to Gun Talk. How goes the war?
Tom, thank you for having me on. I'm feeling pretty good about getting on the board this time. It'll be my third time. Tried in 2020 and came in dead ass last. Wasn't able to get on the ballot in 21. Right. But this year I've got a lot of people helping me, and I think part of it was the work I was doing with the New York AG case, where Mario Aguirre and I tried to intervene on behalf of members to have Wayne and the board removed, so that we
explain that. Explain what the Intervenor Move was.
Letitia James was saying she was working to disband the NRA, and I think you outlined very well the malfeasance of management and the board and the wasting of tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. And so we intervened on behalf of the members, asking that we have a seat in the case, basically saying remove Wayne and the board and put a members' council in place. Because I've been in business for years, and to me, when you deal with a government issue with alleged criminal activity, you come clean, you put the issues on the table, you let the government execute whatever penalties against the individuals that committed those acts, but you get the organization out of it and let the organization go back to its core mission. And that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, so what transpired with that effort?
The judge appreciated our efforts, but we were denied for standing because by the New York AG law, we would have needed, I think it was 5% of the members to have signed on to that, and wasn't going to happen. And then Rocky Marshall tried it as a sitting board director, and he was denied because he was no longer a sitting director by the time it got to the judge to make a ruling.
But then in the meantime, the judge just threw out the idea of dissolving the NRA and told the Attorney General that's not going to happen. You can still go after the individuals. And she's saying, well, she may appeal that decision. So we're still in the midst of that. So kind of give us a look right now of where we are with this unbelievable lawsuit. We're talking about probably more than 1 million pages of documents so far that the AG's office has.
Yeah, well, I think part of this is the Brewer Law Firm's approach is to, litigate everything, stuff everything, delay. That's his pattern. And the bankruptcy, which was another abomination, never should have been filed. Wasted
Correct.
More, again, tens of millions of dollars. Put a lot of this in the record. Where they're admitting to activities that are a violation of tax law, violation of New York nonprofit law, but they're still saying, no, we have to fight. Well, now that the death penalty of shutting down the NRA is off the table, Now it's really about holding those individuals responsible. And so the last I've heard from the court is they expect this to go to trial this summer.
And, you know, the NRA has been telling its members, I've always said throughout this whole thing that I think 75% of the NRA members don't even know what's going on. All they know is what the NRA is telling them in the newsletters and in the emails and in the magazines, and they're saying, we're under attack. You know, the New York Attorney General's office is trying to shut us down. You must send us more money. And just let me be clear here. The Wayne LaPierre has said Bill Brewer is the only thing keeping him out of jail. He may be right about that, yep. Bill Brewer being the attorney. But Brewer, and the NRA members need to understand this, Brewer is billing the NRA at somewhere in excess of $2 million a month right now in legal fees.
Yeah, and I think this gets to the heart of where the issue is with the board, is that, you know, Wayne has spent over 20 years working with the nominating committee so that it's almost a loyalty test that if you don't agree to be loyal to Wayne, the nominating committee will not endorse you.
Yes.
And that, you know, the way I've gotten on the ballot is I have to go around to gun shows and work social media and get members to sign petitions so that I'm the only candidate on the ballot this year running by petition of the members.
So in other words, you're the only one that hasn't been handpicked by Wayne LaPierre.
That is correct.
Okay, so what are you going to do if you get elected to the board? What are you going to do about this mess?
Well, I think there's three things we can try to do. One is by getting on the board, I now have standing with the court. Where the two times that in the past we were denied our interventions because of the lack of standing. A sitting board member has standing by law in New York. Okay. To me, it's starting to share the information about what's going on. At the last board meeting, Willis Lee stood up and told the NRA directors that they are not allowed to talk to the press about anything with the NRA. Everything has to come from the public relations office.
Well, and then they go into executive session. They'll go into executive session for almost the entire board meeting, you know, locking out journalists, locking out even individual members. I mean, I was thrown out of the members meeting because they went to executive session. And now, not only do we not know what's going on, but board members are told you can't reveal to anyone what is discussed in executive session.
Yeah, and part of that is that what's discussed in executive session is one thing, but then you have all the committee meetings. And to me, this is another part of the problem where I expect that I would not be put on any committees, but that makes me a free agent, which means I can go to every committee meeting. And one of my commitments is to share what I learn with the members, and I've been doing that on my Substack blog. At the last board meeting, I think I posted daily updates about what was going on, and some of the board members that approached me, and they were one was very angry that I called them out for what they were doing in terms of use of suppressors in competition, and it's like, come on, guys. You know, suppressors are a thing. We should be behind more prevalent use of suppressors.
So board members are actually mad at you. So board members are mad at you for telling the NRA members what the board members of the NRA are doing.
Yes.
I mean, does anybody understand how corrupt that sounds just on the face of it? So you're running for board, and for those who have their ballots right now, that's going on right now. One of the things I know that Jeff Knox has been saying is, look, they call it a bullet vote for you and nobody else. Even though you can vote for a bunch of people, don't do that. Just vote for you. How does that work?
Well, if you think about it as a plus-minus model, is if you don't vote for someone, they get a minus and that they drop in the ranking. When you vote for someone, they get a plus. If you only vote for me, then I get a plus and everybody else gets a minus, and it lets me rise to the level to be in the top 25 that get elected, and we'll take a seat at the annual meeting in Houston in May.
Let me ask you a question. This is as pointed as I can get. Given everything that's gone on with the NRA, given everything that's going on, other gun rights groups are growing. Do we still need the NRA?
I think we do. I was just reading an article from the NSSF that we had 8.4 million new gun owners in 2020 and 5.4 million new gun owners in 2021. I'm an NRA training counselor. I'm working to develop instructors to go out and make sure that these people know how to safely have these in their home and use them for defense of themselves or their families. And so I think the education and training part of the NRA is absolutely essential. I like what Jason Ouimet does with the ILA in terms of helping try to stem the tide against the bad gun bills. But I think the NRA needs to be much more offensive and aggressive in promoting good laws. And to me, things like let's get constitutional carry across the whole U.S. Let's repeal the NFA. Let's stop these red flag laws. Let's get castle doctrine across the country, so that responsible gun owners can defend themselves and their families.
For those who are wondering, it's Frank Tait, T-A-I-T. He's on the board, on the ballot, if you have your ballot in your magazine that you just got from the NRA. Any other way that people can help you, Frank?
Right now, that's it. It's just spread the word and bullet vote for Frank.
There you go.
I will be at the annual meeting, and hopefully I'm taking a seat on the board, and we can start to clean up the mess and get the NRA focused back on serving the members and not the executive director.
Well, I'll see you in Houston then.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that.